Welcome to another episode of Mission Compliance, Unleashing Growth Potential for Defense Contractors. Today, we're diving into a topic that's both timely and crucial, convincing the boss why CMMC Level 2 prep is worth it and how we make you the hero. In the ever-evolving landscape of defense contracting, achieving cybersecurity maturity model certification, CMMC Level 2, isn't just a regulatory checkbox. It's a strategic move that can set your company apart. But how do you convey this to leadership in a way that highlights both the necessity and the opportunity? Stick around as we explore compelling arguments and strategies to not only get your boss on board, but also position yourself as the compliance champion your organization needs. Zero to hero, yes, indeed. We're joined once again today by Mike Frieder, President of On-Call Compliance Solutions and a CMMC Professional Assessor. Thanks for joining us, Mike.
Hey, it's great to be here, Roman.
So, Mike, this week we're talking about the importance of CMMC certification and the potential Herculean task of convincing your boss to pay the hefty price tag, because in the long run, it'll be a huge boost to your company. And I have to say, I don't know if you caught my double Hercules meaning, but zero to hero, yes, indeed, is from the movie Hercules. So I had to throw Herculean into the intro to you. So we're on the right track today.
Well, while we're at it, we might as well throw in a little bit of my favorite saying, which is, hey, if you're new to the podcast or new to the YouTube channel, go ahead. You guessed it. Hulk smash that subscribe button.
There you go. There you go. So, with that being said, what are the tangible business benefits of achieving CMMC Level 2 compliance?
Yeah, I mean the business benefits are numerous, and I put them into two categories. The first thing is that very soon you are more or less required to do this by law anyway. So from a business benefit standpoint, avoiding massive fines, avoiding going to jail, that is a real thing. I don't know if everybody's seen the new CMMC Level 1 self-attestation, but CMMC Level 2 will be coming soon, and it's going to have the same criminal liability to falsely attesting that you are compliant with this stuff. Really nasty. It's just the same thing they do with ITAR and EAR. So there's criminal penalties, there's big time civil penalties, both of which can actually extend beyond the company to the individual person attesting. So there's big time consequences there. And yeah, I mean, you can lose your contracts if you are not compliant. Then the reality is you can't do business in the defense sector. I mean, you just can't, right? If you have to have CUI in your possession to be able to understand what it takes to do the job, and you're not compliant, well, then we've got a pretty serious problem. So there's a whole lot of kind of stick, as I like to say, reasons. But carrot reasons are, I got to tell you, a lot of the major primes that are out there, they are just begging for compliant subcontractors that they can send work to. I mean, it's unbelievable. The market is shrinking around them as companies exit defense work. Um, and that is tragic. That's really tragic because the amount of defense spending just continues to go up and up and up, which is a great thing. So I think, if I was a company and I was in defense and I looked at this and I looked at this standard and I realized, honestly, this is all just a bunch of best practices anyway. Look, get with the standard, get compliant, be ready. It's not that expensive from an overall perspective. Yes, there's some expense to it. Yes, there's some hassle to it. But what lies on the other side of that rainbow is a very, very limited competition situation. Again, once you work your way into your first couple of defense deals, generally speaking, they want to rebuy from you. They want to keep you in the defense world. They want you to be a reliable contractor for them, and they will really go quite far to find work for you. So yeah, being a defense contractor is definitely the way to go. And as I always like to remind people, it's interesting. There's Roman's been sick the last couple of days, a week or two. So obviously that conjures up the idea of pandemics. Look, if we have another pandemic, which I think is probably unlikely, at least unlikely to cancel work over, then the reality is simple. The reality is that you will be an essential worker in the defense industry and you can't shut your doors. So with all of that in mind, I think that there's just so many positive reasons to just get compliant for the safety of your company and reduced risk. That's what this thing's all about, reducing risk. So wouldn't it be nice if you actually had a really proper risk management framework for your company in play here, especially around IT assets? IT can bring a company to its knees in a heartbeat faster than you can say ransomware. So, for so many reasons, it just makes sense to get with this. But hey, sometimes we get these bosses that are a little bit resistant, because they don't want to deal with multi-factor authentication, or they don't want to deal with the expense, and they don't want to deal with the hassle. Well, these are all pretty minor complaints compared to the idea of losing the ability to do business in defense, or gaining substantial competitive advantage by actually being able to leverage compliance as a secret weapon that your competitors don't have when it comes to accessing pools of work and money that are out there, just waiting for compliant vendors to be able to capture it. So yeah, lots and lots of really good reasons, Roman. I mean, it's what we preach here all day long. It's what we help our clients with all day long. It's really a big excitement piece.
So you mentioned it at the end of your last answer, and it's something we talk about a lot on our YouTube channel. But how can investing in CMMC Level 2 preparation lead to long-term cost savings?
Yeah. I think that there's two tiers of investment, and this is really just starting to kind of come out. People are beginning to realize, what does it really take to pass CMMC certification and to get certified? It's not easy. The first thing is you've got to do a gap analysis. But as I always tell people, you don't want just a gap analysis. If you want to know what all your problems are, go to a therapist. I could probably give you a few. A therapist is somebody who tells you what your problems are, and lets you kind of work it out. We're not a therapist, okay? We're a solution provider. So when you go to get a gap analysis, it has to be a gap analysis and solution design service. That's what you're looking for. Anything short of that will leave you with an empty wallet and really wishing that you hadn't done that. You've got to get the solutions to your compliance deficiencies. You've got to get those answers when you find out what the deficiencies are. And if you don't, you're just going to be delayed in actually getting across the finish line. So that's the first thing is, find out where your gaps are, and then find out what the solutions are to solving them. Then, in my opinion, and apparently in a lot of other people's opinion, the next phase is, once you believe that you've had all of your deficiencies resolved, then at that point, what you're going to do is, in my opinion, I think the next step is you've got to go and get a mock assessment. You can go out there and just go for CMMC certification, but the problem is the only thing that an assessor can tell you, um, is that they're going to basically be in a situation where they can't give you any advice. As a matter of fact, if they consult with you, it goes against every moral and ethic that deals with assessing something. They can't be the person that fixes the problem and diagnoses that the problem exists. That's how it works. So when you go into an actual CMMC certification, what's going to happen is they're going to tell you that a control or an objective is met or not met, and they can't tell you anything else. They really cannot advise you, or else they invalidate the whole process. It's very frustrating. We've been through that ourselves at On Call. We've been through it with clients, and it's one of the reasons why we at On Call offer the mock assessment as a product or a service. Basically, you go through the whole CMMC certification procedure, right? The CAP, the CMMC assessment process. We walk through the CAP, but the difference is we're not certifying you. We're getting you ready for certification. If you have deficiencies, we can tell you what those deficiencies are if you think you're ready. And we can really walk through the process so that when you actually get certified, it's not your first time through. And if you've got places you're going to fail, you can spot those early and you can get them solved. And this is something that can be executed far faster than an actual certification, and on a much more flexible time frame, which is another element of it. So, for us, I think that we designed that product after our own, frankly, really horrible experience of going through, a CMMC level 2 audit, and realizing that, when we went through, it's not that we weren't prepared technically. It was that we had other issues that I think no person will ever get right the first time without significant assistance. It's not logical. There's no aspect of CMMC certification, in my opinion, that just follows a logic path. You have to really understand being audited. You have to understand how government audits work. And there's just a lot of different things to it that if you've never experienced it before, if it was me, I wouldn't want to put 60 to $150,000 on the line getting CMMC certified, which are some of the rates that I've heard lately. So, yeah, I think, there's unbelievable value in being able to go through a mock assessment first. And then on top of that, if you're really, if you don't think you have all these controls met, you don't have your documentation and evidence in order, we don't even start with a mock assessment, start with the CMMC certification process. So that's pretty much, those are the two tiers of assistance. And believe me, both of those tiers are very much worth paying for. By the way, on the topic of paying for them, how are you going to pay for all this? Well, you're not just going to pull it out of profits. I don't want you to do that. What we've got to do is we've got to work these expenses in to your next defense contracts or forecast that they're going to be added to the next defense contracts. To be honest with you, the mock assessment is definitely an extra expense that I think maybe the average company doesn't really sort of plan for. But what I will tell you is that your company should already be DFARS, NIST, and CMMC compliant if it's winning defense work. It's a legal requirement. So there shouldn't be that much of a gap to bridge, but there usually is. And again, that's where we really come in and help clients to understand what they don't understand, what you would never know unless you had actually gone through a CMMC certification process before. So I think that's just so important to understand. We actually have a graphic that a lot of times will show. It's called our roadmap to CMMC success. And again, the first phase is getting the gap analysis and solution design. The second phase is to implement the solutions and close the gaps. And the third and most critical phase is to actually get a mock assessment so you can find out if you close them correctly, if you are in fact really ready for CMMC certification before you go spend the big bucks on that. And then phase four is going and getting CMMC certified, with the goalpost at the end to be able to win a lot more defense work, keep the defense work you've got, and be CMMC certified, which is going to be a really good landmark in security. So, yeah, I think hopefully that answers the question, Roman. But tremendous, tremendous benefits, and it helps to know what is that roadmap and what does that path look like.
I think that answered the question, and if that one didn't, this question might get there as well. What strategies can be employed to effectively communicate the importance of CMMC Level 2 to company leadership?
It's a great question. I think that what needs to be happening more and more, as I observe it in defense companies, is that the folks in business development need to not just be signing those contracts and checking the box. This happens all the time. Everybody's excited to get a deal through. They're not reading the fine print. They hit the fine print, all of a sudden, the company gets saddled with all these requirements that it just had no idea and was not expecting. I think from that perspective, it really does, in fact, make a lot of sense to put us in a position that we've gone through those requirements with the powers that be at your company, i.e., your boss, and their chain of command, so that when the contract comes through, you've either adjusted for the requirement that you're going to have to be CMMC certified, compliant with DFARS and NIST, or the company's made a risk-based decision that it doesn't want to, and that does happen. So obviously, we want as many defense contractors in the game as we can. We want competition to be right. And we at OnCall are doing what we can to make it so that compliance is highly accessible, affordable, within reason, and we can guide our clients in terms of what they should be doing in their agreements. So, yeah, lots and lots to understand there. But the superiors, they do have to understand that there's tremendous value in this. It's not just something that we're doing for the sake of doing. I think another element that we haven't even really touched on is the idea of why are we doing this, right? It's to make our company more secure, especially if we're a defense contractor. As it turns out, our names often get listed publicly as those people who are doing defense work. So if our name is out there on the internet, what does it mean? It means we're a giant target. And so there's a lot of risk out there. If you're a defense contractor, the reality is your firewall is going to be a lot busier than most companies, and it's just something that I think you've got to be prepared for. And that's the government has done its job. It's provided you with all the resources in the world. We are doing our job. We are here to prepare you and help you out with those things. But yeah, you've just You've got to convince the boss. It's not even really convincing them. It's just a reminder of what they signed up for.
I mean, the bottom line here is pretty simple and straightforward. Is if you don't pony up the money to go through certification, to do mock assessments, to get compliant, to do that thing, the money it's going to cost you down the line is far, far, far greater and potentially detrimental to your business. So spend the money now and save your business from potentially getting slammed with the costs of failing audits or not being compliant or whatever. But 90 something episodes into this podcast, all something like a year and a half into this, we do this, and we ask the tough questions, and Mike nails those home, and then we like to make it silly at the end to kind of get bring some light and some lift to this podcast, and a lot of our questions center around superheroes because we like superheroes. So this one today is, if CMMC level 2 were a superhero, what would its superpowers be, and how would it save the day in your organization?
Yeah, it's interesting. We had a deep discussion about this years ago in some of our branding actually. And if you'll notice, I wouldn't call it an exact copy or anything, but we modeled our compliance hero logo after the Captain America shield. So I think, if we were to have a superpower, the reality is we would be the Captain America shield of superpowers. We're here to help shield defense contractors against all of these requirements that are coming and raining down on them when it comes to information security. A lot of people don't know this, but cybersecurity, hacking, extortion, ransomware, all that kind of stuff, that is the number one threat to our national security right now. It's that bad of a threat. And so, we're here to defend against that. As I like to say, we are the company that defends those who defend America. And I think, call us Captain America, call us Captain America Shield, but I mean that is the superpower that we deliver. And then I think the other thing is, look, Captain America in streetwear is wearing some pretty fly looking Jordans with some wings on the back. Our mission is, once we've shielded you from losing business and helping you to win business, with a more compliant and secure posture, we want to help your company fly. We want to help you take off. We want to help you grow. We want to help you succeed in the world of defense contracting. And it's something that we're just such a huge proponent of. And so, you know what, man, it's got to be. We're big fans of Captain America around here. It's probably going to be the shield and the shoes, so that folks can really take off and like my friends at Red Bull say, right? Like on calls. I wouldn't say on calls giving you wings, but those wings on the back of Captain America's shoes. That's the little boost that we like to provide, right? There's nothing more that I love to see our clients win. I was just talking with a client recently that won an $83 million contract, and compliance was the linchpin. They came in, they said, the Army came in, they said, look, we know you can do the work, but can you be compliant? They said, I don't know, let me go find out. And they called us. We said, we can definitely make you compliant. We came in, and within just a very short handful of months, completely and utterly changed the face of this company, which I think has been around for many, many, many decades. So, that's the power of what we do here. We're changing lives, and we're securing the country. We're securing you, the defense contractor. And you know what? We love it every day. It's what we love to do. We love to help you pick up that Captain America shield, put on those winged Nike high tops, and go fly and be the compliance hero for your company, right?
I don't know about wings, but it does remind me of maybe Captain America's wearing his PF Flyers. It was one of the most popular shoes in the 50s and 60s, and there used to be on Sports Center when I was growing up, all the anchors would be like, when the player was running really fast around in third going for home, he's wearing his PF Flyers. So that's what I think of. But anyway, that wraps up another great episode of Mission Compliance. We hope our discussion today has provided you with valuable insights, practical strategies, and inspiration to navigate the ever-evolving world of defense. We'd like to extend our appreciation to Mike for joining us and talking about the importance of convincing the boss that CMMC Level 2 certification is important. Thanks, Mike.
Hey, always a pleasure, Roman.
But the conversation doesn't end here. We encourage you to continue exploring these topics and connect with us via our social media channels. Share your thoughts, ask questions, and engage with fellow listeners using the hashtag Mission Compliance Podcast. If they haven't already, what should they do, Mike?
Well, they should Hulk smash that subscribe button because it's so important, you guys. When we see new subscribers, hanging out with us on the podcast and on the YouTube channel, man, it's like an angel just got its wings. It inspires us to go out there and do more good in the world. So we love it. We appreciate it. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, and tell a friend the defense industry about our podcast. We love doing what we do here, and we love helping you guys.
You heard him, and we'd really appreciate it if you could take a moment to rate and review the show as well. Your feedback helps us to continue to bring you thought provoking episodes and high quality content. Join us next time as we delve further into the dynamic world of defense, security, and industry innovation. Until then, take care, stay informed, and make compliance your mission. See you next time.
Thanks, everybody.